Here's why you should send money home with Rewire. It's easy, and it's in your language. It's fast. Most transactions are completed instantly. The rest take up to 1 business day. It's safe. Rewire complies with strict regulations to protect your money and privacy. Plus, customer support is available 7 days a week in your language. Oh, and your first money transfer is fee-free. Open an account with Rewire today and manage your money your way.
Hello everyone, this is Mariel, your European Community Lead in Rewire, and welcome to our live session this Sunday, May 9, which is very special because first and foremost, I'd like to greet everyone, lahat ng mga kababayan natin na nanay, ina, mother, mudra, mudang, happy Mother's Day. And to all aunts or your sisters and your friends that are celebrating Mother's Day today, I hope you had a nice day to celebrate. And another thing that we are also celebrating this week is the Nurses Week. This is a very special week for the nurses. Especially, yes, all around the world. So happy Nurses Week, and because of this very special week right now that we have for the nurses, I have with me a very special guest. He is a nurse, and he is what do you call this? He's one of the first nurses that came here in Germany. So as you all know, I am based in Germany. So he's one of the first Filipino nurses, together with his batch, being here in Germany with a special program, which is, they call it the Triple Win program, wherein nurses coming from the Philippines or in the East European side are being invited here to take care of patients, German patients, or patients here in Germany. But anyways, before I introduce to you our very special guest, let me run one video coming from GIZ or GIZ, so you would understand what I am talking about. So let's.
Demographic trends in Germany and the European Union are leading to a growing shortage of nurses and care workers for the elderly. With the number of patients requiring care on the rise, Germany's hospitals and nursing homes already lack a sufficient number of well-qualified staff. By contrast, other countries outside the EU have a surplus of healthcare professionals. Triple Win offers German employers a way to solve this problem. It recruits skilled workers fairly from third countries. Currently, the Philippines, Serbia, and Bosnia-Herzegovina.
Die Länder, in denen wir rekrutieren, haben in jedem Fall einen Überhang an Fachkräften, sodass dort kein Mangel entsteht. Wir haben auf der anderen Seite die Arbeitgeber im Blick, die vorbereitete Fachkräfte bekommen. Und wir haben für die Fachkräfte eben einfach einen sicheren Kanal. Sie sind gut vorbereitet und sie bekommen eben auch die gleichen Konditionen wie deutsche Fachkräfte, wenn sie hier anfangen zu arbeiten.
So That's a small introduction about the triple win project made by the German government. So before I really introduce our guest speaker for tonight, I'd like everyone to know that he is the vice president and co-founder of the Philippine Nurses Association here in Germany. He is also a central nursing advisor or a practical nurse instructor, plus a clinical coordinator in one of the university clinics here in Germany. He is also a director, Team Germany, and co-founder of Pinoy Nurses United in Europe. And this is one of rare awardee. I mean, one of the awardees by the government, the Philippine government, which is the Bagong Bayani Award in 2018. He's also the founder of the Filipino Nurses in Germany, a faculty for School of Nursing in Offenburg, Germany, and the president of the Association of Filipino Nurses in Germany. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Mr. Jimmy Carpon Jr., which I'm very proud to present to each and every Filipino and migrants and health workers here in Europe. Hello, Jimmy.
Hello, Ma'am
Yes.
Mariel, and good evening
Good
in
evening.
Germany, and good morning probably in the Philippines. Again, thank you very much po sa inyong invitation at sa inyong introduction. Thank you very much po, and happy Mother's Day. Alles Gute zum Muttertag sa inyong lahat, sa inyo po Ma'am Mariel, at sa ating mga mahal na magulang o na mga ina na ating mga frontliners ng ating mga bahay, no, ang ating mga ina, at pinabati ko rin po ang ating mga co-nurses at ating mga nurses sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo, ng bansa sa mundo, sa ating International Nurses Week. Happy Nurses Week po sa ating mga kasamahan dito rin po sa lalo-lalo na rito sa Germany, sa Pilipinas, sa aking mga kasama sa Pinoy Nurses United in Europe po, sa mga buong Europa, at sa Philippine Nurses Association in Germany po. So, yun lang po. Salamat po sa inyong
Yes.
invitation.
No, we would love to. Yeah, I mean, we're very thankful and grateful that you graced us your time and effort, because we know very busy ka, Jimmy. You're a very busy nursing instructor, nursing advisor, especially for nurses who have a migration background. So my first question, Jimmy, because I guess a lot of nurses would relate to the experience that you have been in Germany. I know you have been almost 7 years here in Germany. And looking back in 2014, when I'm seeing the YouTube videos, when you applied for the Triple Win program, and then you arrived in Germany, are fully integrated in Germany because of your work, or because are you also fully integrated because of the new working habits, the language, and the climate?
Yes, actually, it was really a challenging experience then during the time that we first recruited, because we were the first batch and we were the pioneer nurses way back 2014. But there were first four nurses who came to Frankfurt, and then we were the second first batch, like that, as a sub first batch of the nurses going to Germany. And during that time, of course, there were no existing other nurses on our generation. So it was like everything will be new for us. The language is new, the weather is new, um, and of course, it's difficult always to leave our family behind. No, it's not easy for a Filipino nurse or a Filipino migrant just to leave the family because of work. No, that's actually
That's true.
a difficult experience for us. But what is very important, if as we arrive, was that we were able to experience the hospitality, of course, of the German government and the German itself themselves. I think it helped us also to integrate. But again, the integration takes a lot of time. No, it doesn't mean that after a week you will be integrated. Of course, we had to first experience the four seasons in Germany: summer, fall, winter, and spring. No,
Spring.
so
Yes.
these are the seasons that I haven't experienced itself. No, so it was a little bit, ano, challenging then. No, actually, it's more of work challenges and personal and cultural challenges during that
Okay.
time.
Yeah, well said, I would say. My next question, Jimmy, is I mean, why Germany? Why did you choose Germany? Because after all, there is a United Kingdom wherein you could just speak English because
Mm,
it is nursing definitely is being taught in the Philippines in the English language. So why Germany? Why choose a difficult language?
uh,
And choosing a more difficult path because most of the nurses would prefer like in Middle East wherein they can speak in English. Why Germany? What
oh,
is
mm.
what is your what attracted you to apply for Germany?
Yeah. So personally, for example, no, merong ang kasabihan na, you cannot force something to love, but you can learn something to love. So, ibig sabihin, during the time that of course, I had my own personal reason, I was able to had a chance to go to Switzerland, and because my sister lives there, and I was able to see Europe for at least a short time, and then I realized it was my time to go abroad. And it was just a destiny that I started learning German language without a specific objective, by probably trying to go to Europe. And then when I finished my language, it was the time that Germany opened its doors. So um kumbaga, my personal reason was really actually just to try and go to nearer to my sister, no,
Okay.
pero of course yung mga kasama ko mga nurses na naging pioneer, they have their own also reasons, no, na parang uh, na nag-open yung Germany, and then of course kami yung nag-aral ng German language ahead of the opening of the project, because we were not actually informed that time. We just had different reasons, and then nagkataon lang we just had our level na na qualified going abroad, kaya kami nakuhang first batch. And it was destiny siguro. Like ko rin sinasabi sa aking mga students or sa aking mga new nurses na if something's really for you, the constellation of the stars are aligned and it will be really for you.
Correct.
Ganon.
Well said.
Yes.
Thank you, Jamie. Yes. Going back or moving forward to my next question. Aside from the language, I know the Triple Win prepared the pioneers of the program ahead of learning the language. But aside from that, what are the other factors? Ano yung mga that you personally struggled to adjust and adopt when you started living in Germany, because it's not easy. I mean, of course you could speak the language, but it's not as you've expected with the role. I mean, yung my role settings sa classroom. So you're
Mm.
really out there. So what are your personal struggles while
Yes.
living when starting living here in Germany?
Of course, I think everybody will agree, especially our Filipino nurses here in Germany. The first challenge is always the language, because what we have learned in the Philippines are book based. So we haven't practiced it, because we were able to only speak German for 4 hours during our classroom hours, and then pagdating sa bahay or at home, we speak our own language, no, our English and Tagalog languages or dialect. And then going to Germany, you will feel na parang ah did I learn German language kasi sobrang bilis, no? Ang bilis na nila
Yes.
magsalita, and everything is out of Deutsch, so it's in German. So parang feeling mo tuloy kasi sa German levels, for our viewers who are not familiar with the levels, may level 1, 2, 3, and 4. Parang feeling ang requirement for a nurse is parang level 3. So pagdating mo rito, parang feeling mo level 1 ka pa lang kasi so meron kang tinatawag na yung tinatawag na pressure to speak a language because they thought that you have finished the level 3. And another one is which is we are surprised that meron dialects in Germany. No, we were not aware of that, no, na may dialects
Yes.
pala, and then the
Oh my
patients are
gosh.
speaking of dialects. So nung nagkaroon kami na exposure sa hospital, um, doon ako na, I could not understand a single word because ang dialects din dito is parang sa Philippines na
That's
once
true.
na nagsalita na sila ng dialect, it's not like para siyang German, it's another language o parang gano'n, no? So, that's a very one factor that I could say is the language is to integrate. And of course, sa ating mga Filipino nurses, the first one challenging moment or factor that will really experience ng lahat ng mga nurses, na-experience ng ating mga nurses, yung tinatawag nating there will be a time that you will miss the family, no? Parang masaya pero you'll feeling alone. Mag-isa ka kasi.
Yes.
Mm.
Okay. Oh, yes. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go on a personal level later. But another question is, were you culturally shocked how the Germans are brutally frank, I would say. Because for a Filipino, like for me, I married to a German, and then when I started here in Germany, the first 6 months, the frankness is really really offended me. So is it the same thing in your case?
Yes, of course. O on my personal level, no, when I was starting as a nurse, syempre andun yung language na challenge, no? So parang um, of course you feel na parang pag nagjo-duty ka, and then they started correcting you, and it's our natural character na ating mga Filipino that we are sometimes emotional, and we are not totally sensitive but more of like we take sometime yung information na yon in a different perspective, no. It may be very offending, or it may be a type of something that you feel na hatred, no, na dadalhin mo sa bahay, you bring it at home. Dumating sa point ko yon na during the first year that if I'm doing something and then nakorek ako, and then I thought she is mad at me the whole day, so I brought it at home, and then I started thinking, and then I was thinking na parang I don't want to go to the next day duty kasi I will see her again, or I will see him again. Uh, pero it's part of it, eh. It's part of learning process. It was surprising for us, no? And then you will learn that's this character or personality ng mga Germans as you go along with your everyday life, eh. Na parang it's not just in the hospital setting, but you'll also notice that in the restaurants, they are very direct. If you are finished, you're finished. They get your food. Also in the customer service outside, like Einkaufszentrum or shopping malls, the you will miss this customer service that we have in the Philippines, no. So that's why, because they are just being direct and being, I think, efficient, that they wanted to do things properly and efficient and punctual like that. And I think that is the first thing that I have to
Overcome.
face, to
Okay.
overcome. And also I am actually punctual in the Philippines, no. So ever since, I'm always punctual, but
That's good.
the punctuality here is, I think, more extreme because, like,
Yes.
for example, the bus for our nurses or our future nurses who are coming here, you will see the bus like weird numbers,
Yes.
1917,
Yeah.
1912. I thought 1912, it's like it's 12 minutes after 7 p.m. Pero the bus will really come at 1912. So,
Yeah.
ganun din sa duty during my first duty sa hospital. Ang duty ko noon is like 6 a.m. to 2:19, no? So, may 19 minutes, no? Hindi na sinagad ng 2:30, no? Pero may 2:19. Tapos walang bandy clock, no? Walang time bandy clock ba
Yes.
tawag doon?
Yes, but
So,
I
o
think, yeah.
stamper, no? So, yun ang mga bagay na something na medyo magugulat yung ating mga nurses. And I think na-experience ng ating mga viewers or ating mga Filipino nurses also here in Germany.
Okay, yes. For the nurses that are watching right now, I encourage you to send or put in the comments if you have questions for Jimmy. I have questions for Jimmy because I'm a very curious person. But if you like to ask Jimmy personally, put it in the comments so that we could read it to Jimmy later in the interview. Okay, this is so interesting because I think every migrant has its set of um, culture that needs to be overcome because it's totally different from yung sa mga nakasanayan natin. So I mean, when you overcome that kind of yung constructive criticism ng Germans, how could you differentiate the constructive criticism against bullying at work? Because I remember when I was talking to you backstage, there are some nurses that they feel that the constructive criticisms that their German or their colleagues are telling them are sort of bullying, but it's totally different because they're just like that. So how would you advise a newly settled nurse or yung bagong saltan nurse here that doesn't have any international experiences from Middle East or from UK that went directly from a Philippine hospital setting to the German setting? So what would be your first advice to them na um, whether it would be bullying as at first or it's just a constructive criticism? How would they differentiate that?
Yes, I think I always say to new nurses, no, you have to first define what is bullying for you. No, kasi sometimes you have to also set the limitations or limits on what you see as bullying, on what you see as something that will improve you, no, what will develop you as a nurse. Um, of course, there are realities in life or in the situation in the hospital setup that they are nurses who are not yet open or not very much welcoming to the foreign nurses, not against specific race or Filipinos, but to foreign nurses. But because probably you have to look on the both perspective. No? For example, I always look with someone is trying to criticize me because number one, wala siyang idea. He or she has no idea of what I had and what I've learned in the Philippines and what we have in the Philippines. Um, I think it's very important. Meron siyang tinatawag na cultural hintergrund, no? Tinatawag na parang cultural background
Background,
that
yes.
they have no experience of actually of a foreigners before. That's why they don't know how to approach you. But because of the personality that they are trying to criticize you on what they have been actually, which is very open and very frank and very sometimes tactless or tactful, but nagkakaroon siya ng cultural clash, no? Um, However, of course, as Filipino nurse or as a newbie, hindi mo rin pwedeng tanggapin ng isang bagay na alam mong hindi na siya helpful for you, especially on your mental state. Now, for example, if you notice every day, she keeps on, you know, telling you things, but already not improving you, but rather making you like mapahiya ka lang, that's bullying. But for
Okay.
example, if she is just correcting you because you made something wrong that will improve you in terms of your nursing responsibility, then I think it's constructive criticism. So, yun ang I think i-differentiate mo siya na will it help me? And then, yun ang first question will it help me, yung kanyang sinabi? Or number two, is yung tao ba na yan na nagsabi sa akin na yun is may idea ba siya about what I am and what I have learned? Siguro nagkakaroon lang kami ng cultural clash.
Okay, I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, ngayon naiintindihan ko why, naiintindihan ko much better why the university clinic had you as a instructor, a nursing
Ah,
instructor for with migration background, because you could see everything. It's so objective. I mean,
mm.
it's so objective how you phrase it. Um, uh, Moving on to my next question, what do you like best working in a German healthcare system?
Of course. I think hmm. What I like, of course, during the first 3 years of my hospital experience dito, they they don't see you as a Filipino, but as they see you as a nurse. So ibig sabihin, they will provide you the career that if they see potentials in you. So, which I'm very thankful naman to Germany itself, and to all the Filipino nurses and to all those who believe and trusted me, that after 2 years I was then promoted and promoted. But I think when they see your performances, then they will appreciate you. And that's what I like about in the German healthcare system, na parang especially in the field of nursing, no? I'm talking about
Yes.
nurse as a nurse. Um, the equal yung nurse na Filipino to a German nurse, to an Italian nurse, to a Serbian nurse, no? So I think there's no parang mas senior or whatever like that. Um, but in general, of course, ang maganda rito, syempre walang bayad yung mga patients, no? So everyone is sikat, or everyone is insured. So yun ang gusto
Insured,
ko naman
yes.
dito, ng maganda ang German healthcare system in Germany. Sa ating mga viewers who are not based in Germany, of course, we are very proud of our German healthcare system, that we are you can see the benefits, the healthcare benefits ng ating mga patients, which also come resonant also to our nurses.
That is a very good advice to the newly settled nurses, because I think at one point they need to see it. Hey, you have the same equality, or you're the same equal with other migrants, and if you do well, then you would end up like Jimmy.
I think ang maganda siguro sa kanila, ma'am, which is I think they will just give you the chances, eh. They will really
Yes.
trust you, and they will really give you the opportunity to improve, to develop. And of course, at the end of the day, to our viewers and to our Filipino nurses that you will be also experiencing, and you experience probably, syempre iba yung image ng nurses dito, no? They are still trying to build the image of the nurses here as a profession, in comparison to the Philippines, na ang ating nursing doon is already established, no? Dito nagsisimula pa lang sila sa tinatawag na academic zirong. So for example, uh, nagkakaroon na ng bachelor's degree in different states, no, but not necessarily in whole Germany. So yun ang tinatawag natin na parang medyo bata pa yung profession ng nursing. So it's time to shine for our Filipino nurses and all the migrants, as always.
Yes, inviting everyone to invite your relatives and your sisters and siblings to be to enroll as nursing students in the Philippines. Um, um, as, we've discussed what you like about working in the German healthcare setting, but what do you miss from the Philippine healthcare setting, Jimmy?
I think yung tinatawag na um, yung immediate camaraderie among peers,
Yes,
no? I think what we like in the Philippines is we treat our colleagues as family.
yes,
Kumbaga, naging best friends mo sila kaagad in the
that's
first week
true.
of your duty sa Pilipinas. After ng duty, nakakapaglabas-labas pa kayo, party,
Mm.
I miss those days, no? Because I work at St. Luke's before, and during my time at St. Luke's, Quezon City pa ako noon.
Yes.
After our duty, we go to Quezon Ave, or sort
Mm,
of like that. So meron tinatawag na
correct.
camaraderie among the
Yes.
peers. Dito kasi sa Germany, it will take time because Germans sa umpisa are very are distance here, no, very distance. No, they take a lot of time to give the trust on to yung tinatawag na separation ng private and work, no. It's very obvious dito sa Germany, but once you become good friends with them, once they trust you, they are real friends, which I can attest to that
Yes.
because I have already a lot of German friends too, and I've met a lot of Germans, and I think they have shown that they are there for you if you need them, and even in private life, no, as long as you have established that rapport and trust.
Yeah,
But it
that's
takes
true.
time, no? Yun ang
Of
difference.
course.
Unlike sa Philippines, pagdating mo, 1 week pa lang, beso-beso na,
Best friend. Yeah, best
chika-chika,
friends na.
best friends forever, like that. I
Okay.
think that's
Yeah,
the,
that's true.
At saka, syempre, of course, what I miss in the Philippines, um yung yung tawag dito, yung ingay yung ingay ng ng duty, yung maingay sa
Yes.
duty, maraming nangyayari, magulo, alam mo na
Yes.
yon, kahit even in a very famous hospitals or very expensive, also very tawag dyan, high hospitals or tertiary hospitals sa Philippines, ang daming nangyayari, ang daming aksyon. Here in
Mm.
Germany, it's like more of, organized, structured, no? So everything
Yes.
is systematic. So it's like routine. So 6 a.m. ito, 7, like that. So that's what
Yeah.
you will experience soon.
That's true. I mean, yes, correct. I mean, I agree to everything that you said. So, going to be moving forward because of the COVID-19 situation that everyone else in the world experience, and people are becoming more aware of the sacrifices and what kind of work nurses and healthcare workers are, and the kind of empathy that these professionals are giving to the patients and to their families. Do you feel that that kind of meron ng paradigm shift on a perspective ng isang pamilya because they saw na being a frontliner sa pandemic right now is something that not everyone could do.
I think the positive effect or consequence ng COVID-19 pandemic is people appreciate, or people have been appreciating our profession, but people more appreciate this time yung nurses and the doctors as frontliners, no? So nakita nila yung, tama ka dun, Ma'am Meryl, na nagkaroon ng parang paradigm shift na they've seen the value of our profession. They respect us. They even, there were even during the first few months, meron pa tinatawag na applause days for
Yes.
our frontliners because they see how important the nurses are. And that's what I also see in the future, no? Nasabi ko nga, now that many countries, especially in Europe, started seeing the importance of the number of nurses present in their hospitals, and then Germany was able to prepare because they've started recruiting foreign nurses. But
Yeah.
like countries, I had also, my colleagues in our organization, in Spain, they started recruiting nurses there for Filipinos. In other countries like Belgium or France, Switzerland, medyo wala pang foreign nurses. So now they see the importance of good staffing. So there will a time, I think after this COVID, that they will started opening doors na rin to foreign nurses because they see the value. No, I think importante yun sa ating profession, especially sa atin, sa aming mga nurses, is the appreciation and the value of our, this noble profession that we have.
Yes, I mean, I could attest to that. Ibang klase yung the kind of work na binigay ng mga nurses, even the doctors, healthcare workers, and even cleaning ladies sa mga hospitals.
Yes, yes.
Because this could not be paid with financial stuff.
Mm.
So kudos to all the frontliners out there. And also that's the reason why I wanted to have you here to our live session, migrant session, because it's very important that the Filipino nurses, not only here in Germany, but also in UK or around Europe, even in the whole world, that they feel appreciated and valued. So,
Correct.
I mean,
Oo.
thank you for that, Jimmy.
Thank you sa
Go.
ating mga Filipino nurses and to all the nurses regardless of nationalities. Uh, maraming salamat po. And we always give our salute, uh, not just during the pandemic, but forever. We will always be thankful for everyone.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Jimmy, I'd like to ask you something personal. I mean, because I'm sure marami tayong mga Filipino kababayans, and not only Filipino kababayans, but also migrants here in Europe. During the first 2 years of you living here or settling here in Europe or in Germany, were there moments of homesickness, and at the same time, if you want to go back to the Philippines because you miss your family or someone is sick and you're not the nurse who should be taking care of them, were
Oo.
there moments like that?
Oo. Actually, it was the moment that I got sick. You know,
Okay.
I had a fever. I think it was hindi siya corona, but I think it's the winter virus, no? It's
Yeah.
like it's very famous common dito sa Europe. I had a fever and it was the feeling na mag-isa ka sa bahay. Because of course, kung nasa Pilipinas ka, nandyan si mama, will take care of you, andyan yung
Yes.
pagkain, may lugaw, may sopas, everything is complete.
Yes.
And of course, alam mo na yun, doon ko naramdaman, ma'am, na parang I had, I was so weak, I had to do it myself, everything, you know, I had to cook despite na sobrang hinang-hina ka na taas ang lagnat mo, doon ko naramdaman na parang, oh my God, I miss my family. And another one, during the first 2 years, of course, there will be times, especially during our duties, na sobrang dami, sobrang toxic, it was so busy to the point na you wanted just to take a long rest and you wanted
Mm.
to go home. Going home, it doesn't mean na going home dito, but going home back to the Philippines. Sabi ko nga, I actually experienced that when I was in the hospital. Sobrang busy ako. I was so exhausted. I went home for a week in the Philippines. I decided to go
Really?
back.
1 week?
Oo, kasi I was really ano parang hindi naman siya nainis ako sa work ko, but rather I was really
You
exhausted. I
just
wanted to award myself or to reward myself. I went home just for a week. So parang sabi ko sa friends ko that time na uuwi ako ng Pilipinas. Parang ang toxic. Parang ganon. So sort of like that. We will experience that. And of course, another one that I started having heimweh when I had my first vacation in the Philippines and I started seeing that my parents or our parents are getting old faster. Kasi I think ganun palang feeling na isang OFW. Kapag dating mo sa Pilipinas, nakikita mo yung parents mo tumatanda ng mabilis. Kasi you don't see them a year. So,
yes.
so pagdating mo, may bago na naman siyang puting buhok. Nagputi na siya. So it's something that I've realized I have to go back as soon as
Often.
if often if I can. That's why I think everybody is experiencing that na gustong-gustong umuwi ng Pilipino. Ngayon ko lang naintindihan bakit ang mga Filipino nung dati nasa Pilipinas ako, nagtataka ako bakit ang OFW sobrang excited umuwi. Parang sabi ko, OA naman. Pero at the end of the day, I've realized personally, ganun pala yun, na
Yes.
ikaw na mismo makaka-experience na pag uwi mo sa Pilipinas, iba talaga.
Yes, I agree with. I really agree with you. I remember when you were just. I guess you're also exhausted physically, but I think it's also your love tank is
Mm.
really empty. And sometimes the love tank needs to be filled up by family, friends, Filipino food.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I mean, I know I would, now I understand why you took just 1 week vacation and then go back
Mm,
just to fill up your love tank. I always say that filling up the love tank coming from your friends, because this is something, it makes you recharge as a person.
correct. And I would like also to add, if there are tender loving care, nurses are known as for tender loving care. I think our families, the Filipino families themselves, have the tender loving care that we don't experience dito.
I have a question, Jimmy. I mean, you mentioned when you were sick, nobody's taking care of you, and I think a lot of nurses, a lot of expats, living here alone in Europe, when they got sick, no mom, no dad, no sister would bring you a chicken soup or
Yes.
lugaw,
Or Vicks.
o kaya Vicks. Walang tutulong sa'yo.
Mm.
Did you also, I mean, asking help from German friends or Filipino friends, I
Of
hope in
course.
near your area, did it also occur to you na kailangan ko ng tulong, pwede bang dalhan niyo ako ng
Oo.
lugaw?
Oo. Actually, of course, ang maganda naman kapag dito kasi nung panahon namin, nung first year, kami lang. No?
Ah, okay.
Walang previous na groups. So we were really the first batch. We were the pioneer, no? So it was difficult for us kasi ah, dumating sa point din na nag-duty na kami. Kumbaga, during the first 6 months, we were so happy because we could gather together every week because we had our the same schedule. But once we became nurses already, may mga iba-iba ng schedule. So, there will be times talaga na sasabihin mo nga sa sarili, meron nga kaming kasabihan na magkakaroon na ng kanya-kanyang sariling buhay na para at the end of the day. Pero of course, ang maganda lang sa mga Filipino nurses right now who are coming to and who are already there, meron na mga tinatawag na core groups or previous groups that who will support them, which is actually I've experienced that din naman na I was able to ano to get help and to get assistance from my friends on the Filipino community themselves. At saka ang maganda naman because of the Filipinos are very well known in our social media. For example, in our organizations, through the PNA Germany or Pinoy Nurses United in Europe, we have never met each other actually pa no? Parang like the two
Yeah.
of us, we haven't met each other, pero we have established already the trust and we have established already the connection and friendship and tinatawag na, yung parang being there for our Filipino nurses. Even yung mga Filipino nurses who are messaging me, I think some of them can attest even they don't know me personally, they message me asking for assistance or for advices. I always give them advices because at the end of the day, ang like kong sinasabi, if I could give them a simple advice where to go and what to do, I think meron man lang siya maramdaman na someone is there for him or for her.
True.
Because we will never know the history and the stories of those nurses behind closed doors.
True. Oh my gosh. I mean, so I think it's for everyone. It's not only for Filipinos. It's not only for nurses. Be kind.
Be
Spread
kind.
more love, because, like
Yes.
Jimmy said, there are stories behind a certain person that we don't know. So put a smile on their faces and just be kind and
Yes.
spread the
And
love.
and always ako naniniwala ko ma'am is kindness and like smile is also a universal language.
True. That's
So
true.
everybody can understand that.
Yes. Jimmy, this is also another personal question. Where do you draw your inspiration and strength to stay motivated on your purpose being a nurse and your calling? Because right now, a lot of nurses are exhausted. So,
Mm.
where do you draw, or where should they also draw that kind of inspiration and strength? Because sometimes, like you've said, you felt depleted, you felt exhausted, you want to just go back home even if it's just for a week. And right now we have been experiencing COVID for the last 1.5 years. um, what could you tell I mean, yeah, what's your inspiration and what could you tell our fellow nurses and even the expats?
You know, I think my inspiration, of course, I think everybody will also agree. Until now, that I keep moving and I keep moving forward is because of my family. You know, at the end of the day, my family is always my inspiration. And I think a nurse or a Filipino nurse or an expat will not, should doesn't need to elaborate, no? Kasi family is family already. It is like the foundation of being of everything of ourselves. But what I can advise to our nurses, there will be a lot of phases in our life as you go along in migration. No? For example, during first 3 years, you have to stay motivated because you wanted to master your skills. So I think what's important is you have to set your objectives as inspirations. Because if you don't set objectives as inspiration, then you will feel it will be like a routinary and robotic. Now to the point that you will think you are just working. No, it will make you more exhausted. So what is very important is you have to set your objectives for the first 3 years to master your skills, and after that there will be a time in your life which I'm now experiencing that you have to balance now. After you master the skills, magaling ka na nurse, kabisado mo na ang trabaho, you know already about how to integrate, how to communicate with your colleagues, the spraka is verbesa. Also, kumbaga, okay na yung spraka mo or yung language mo.
Language.
And then, you will start balancing na the life private and work, no? So ibig sabihin, you have to look for something, that will inspire you, like do something more, another new hobbies, or like for example, hanap ka ng love life or sa ating mga nurses, or just
Yes.
explore things that you haven't explored during the first 3 years kasi busy ka sa pag-master ng skills eh. Yun na lang kung sinasabi din na, and of course, for you to stay in a work, sa ating mga nurses na na-exhaust, always try to think this formula that I've already told many times. The work includes passion. So, if you don't have the passion to at work and you just work, then it will be exhausting. But if you have passion plus work, then there will be contentment. So equal yun eh. Passion plus work equals contentment. And then you will be happy.
Oh, this is so beautiful. Passion plus work is
It's
contentment.
contentment. So
So
for
you
the
need to be, I mean, for everyone who are watching right now, be passionate. Be passionate
passionate.
of the wherever you are, whatever industry, be
Yes.
passionate about it, and contentment would follow. This is so beautiful, Jimmy.
Yes.
I mean, Jimmy, another personal question. You have been Bagong Bayani Awardee. This is a award given to overseas Filipino workers that contributed something great to the Philippines. You have been promoted many times, and recently you're working in a university clinic wherein you take responsibility of training new nurses. You educate people or nurses with migration background. Is there any other wish or is there any other objective that you want to attain in the future while you're still in Germany?
I think I just wanted to be ano lang I think I don't know if they will find it corny, but I think what I always wish lang until now is just to that I stay healthy then, and my family and everyone to stay healthy at the end of the day. Kasi doon ko na-realize din na, health is wealth talaga, no?
Yeah.
So mauuna talaga ang health bago din ang work. So pero in a personal level or professional level, I think wala na rin naman ako, siguro hindi naman sa I've reached what I dreamed of, kasi may mga bagay kasi na hindi mo rin napaplano. I never thought that I will be a faculty here in Germany. No? I started when I was in the Philippines. My focus was just to become a nurse, no, to work as a nurse. Pero I never thought that I will be able to teach nursing in German, the pathophysiologies of different diseases in German when I was teaching, when I was a faculty in the School of Nursing here. Um, parang yun ang sinasabi ko na you just take it talaga yung, you have to live life, you go along and then let the universe takes its course.
That's true.
Kumbaga, the universe will tell you, and God has already plans for us. And I think you just accept the plans that will come along a way. No? So objective ko lang talaga is just to be happy and just to enjoy our life and live life as it goes along.
Okay, I'm down to my last two questions, Jimmy.
Mm.
Um, do you have any advice or message for those aspiring nurses way back home, or even the new ones settling here, having a new life in Germany? Because remember when we were discussing before that there are two different settings. There are ones that, like for example, in Middle East, contract based sila. After the contract ended, their thinking is, okay, I'm gonna go back home and then apply to another country again. In Germany, it's also different. I remember you told me na dito sa Germany, the work prepares you to stay here, that you integrate here, or maybe perhaps build a family here.
Yes.
So, what are your advices to them, the ones who are aspiring to be nurses here in Europe, and at the same time, the ones who just settled?
I think what is very important, which is I already told you this during the first few minutes of our talk, when the constellation of the stars are aligned,
Oh
then it will
yes,
be really for you. So ibig sabihin, you just have to go along with uh, what you're taking as a path, no? Kasi tuloy-tuloy naman siya at the end of the day, kung tagang para sa'yo ang isang bagay.
that's true.
So, pag tuloy-tuloy siya, then what you have to do is to master, of course, master the language, then master your skills. After mastering those things, integrate and have a life. Kumbaga, yun lang. So, I think that's makes it like a summary is
Yes.
first you have to accept the path or the destiny that you are about to take, and then master the language, master the skills, then integrate and then have a life. Then
That's a
everything
beautiful
follows.
advice.
Mm.
I'm going to my last questions for all the viewers. Please stay tuned because I have a surprise for you. Pag umalis na si
Wow.
Jimmy, because there's a coupon that is also would give everyone some yeah, a nice coupon for everyone. So Jimmy, this last question, the last 1.5 year, as I mentioned, is very difficult for
Yes.
your colleagues, fellow colleagues,
Yes.
healthcare workers and cleaning staff and the doctors, everyone else, and even yung mga admin behind the hospital, yung mga backdoor people na hindi nakikita ng mga pasyente. What could you say to them? Kasi hindi natin alam kung hanggang kailan. But what would you like to say to them sa fellow nurse mo, fellow educator mo during this very challenging time?
Um, I think siguro everybody was able to express na, and we have already shown to our fellow nurses and to all the frontliners regardless of the profession. Basta yung naging part ng ito tinatawag na COVID-19 pandemic battle, no? Experts, doctors, cleaners, restaurants, everyone, and even our family and even our OFWs, mainly because we cannot go home as of now. No? It takes a lot of time, or pwede man lang umuwi, pero it takes a lot of time. What I can only tell to them is, of course, thank you, and at saka we salute your courage. Um, yung courage talaga nila, yung bravery to face the challenges because of the virus that is very new, at tapos yung bravery na your family is miles away, na you cannot just even take care of them, for is something that we everyone has to face. It's it's worth it talaga. Parang nakakasaludo. Parang
Yeah.
it's not easy, no? Um Yun lang siguro, especially this Nurses Week, we thank you for everyone. We thank you for your love and for your support. And totoo 'yon yung mga sinasabi sa social media or sa news, na the only way to thank our Filipino nurses is to follow the protocols.
True.
Because just wear face masks, wash your hands, social distancing, because applauses will just give us a little appreciation for about a minute or two. But if you wash your hands, you social distance, you do the healthcare protocols, then the nurses will have lighter works, because there will be no patients at all, no?
Yeah.
There will be no admissions. Kasi totoo yun eh. Like, you know, hindi siya ganun kadali talaga, to wear the PPEs, to wear the face mask the whole day, or for 8 hour shift or 12 hours probably yung iba. Swerte lang tayo, ma'am, sa Germany that we have the resources. But in other countries, like probably, for example, in the Philippines, I don't know, no, I cannot just say on behalf of all hospitals there, but I think what I can see, they have to reuse, no, some of the protections. So yun lang. So thank you very much. And hello sa ating mga viewers at sa aking mga former students na nakikita ko na nagko-comment, at saka sa aking mga
Oo nga.
kasamahan. Oo.
Yeah, yes, yes, Jimmy. Thank you so much. I'm deeply humbled sa information that you shared to us, sa experience that you shared to us, and also the knowledge that a lot of Filipino and a lot of migrants and expats working in Europe and in UK, also in Israel, yung empathy ng isang nurse. So I hope to see you soon again for a nice
Yes,
talk.
yes.
Hindi kita ambush next week. Hindi naman ganun. But I really want to thank you for this opportunity that you were able to share the kind of experience, the kind of empathy, the kind of information that is very important to our migrants. Kasi
Yes.
minsan, they have been in the monotony of life. They forgot to see that there are other people who are not doing much better than them. So thank you for that. And at the same time, yes, to all the expats, to all migrants in EU, please remember what Mr. Jimmy Carpon told everyone. Social distancing, wash your hands, put some mask. And also get vaccinated. But I don't want to have haters here.
Yes.
Well, kasi
May mga kanya-kanyang opinions.
kanya-kanyang opinion. Pero maraming salamat, Jimmy. I'll see you later backstage.
Yes.
And for all the Rewire users and our Rewire friends, maraming salamat sa pagtangkilik. And Jimmy, I'll see you later. I'll just post something for our kababayans.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Happy Nurses Week and happy
Yes,
Mother's
happy
Day.
nurse. Yes. So, we're about to end. Thank you so much. But before that, as promised, I think some of our Rewire users already saw our ad for today. Na meron tayong discount code, not for the service charges, but we have coupon codes. So for the ones who stayed For those who are watching from Europe and UK, you may use the MOM D1 code, and for Israel, the MOM D25 code, and you'll be surprised because Rewire has a special gift for everyone who is watching or who stayed watching to in our live session. So I hope to see you soon. Stay safe, stay healthy, and yes, again, don't forget the coupon codes MOM, MOND1 for UK and Europe, and for Israel, MOM, MOMD25. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed our live session for this evening. And yes, stay tuned, and we wish you the best of health. And yeah, God bless and good night. Bye.